I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to leave the store.
They're driving me crazy!
We came, we saw, and we kick off this evening with a look at the cinema.
I'm not a complicated man. I like cinema.
It's beautiful, beautiful cinema.
Cinema history come to life.
I found my solace in the small cinema I went to every Thursday night.
I'm a professor of cinema.
I go to the cinema for the stories.
There was no competition between the cinema and seminar.
I mean, it's not within the realm of conventional cinema.
And now,
here's Pace and Johnson.
The cinema review.
It is Monday, 8 EST, August 11th, 2025, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Cinemaster's Reviews. Apologies for hitting the wrong intro video. This show is self-produced. There are bound to be some technical hiccups. Thankfully, I was able to save it. Exciting show this week. I'm reviewing Weapons, the new horror movie from Zach Krager, as well as Freakier Friday, the 22-year-later legacy sequel to the remake of Freaky Friday from 2003. I say we jump right into the show, starting with our first review of the night. As soon as I can click on it. Weapons, directed by Zach Krager. This is his follow-up to the exciting 2022 breakout hit Barbarian. This is set in Maybrook, Pennsylvania. And to give the most simple log line I can, one night at 2:17 a.m., 17 kids got out of their beds and just 17 kids from the same third grade class all got out of their beds, left into the middle of the night, and never returned home. There was one kid in Justine's class, Justine played by Julia Garner, who did not end up leaving their bed. And wouldn't you know it, the town is starting to have a slight panic as to where all these kids went. Barbarian was a movie that came out a little bit before we started this show. And that was a movie I really, really enjoyed. I think it was an exciting breakout hit. It was sort of like this visionary film from this guy who had a comedy background, kind of like Jordan Peele, stepping into the horror realm. This was his big follow-up. It has a much bigger cast, has a much bigger budget. I was very, very intrigued to see how Zach Krager was going to be able to follow up that film, to see what he learned from that film, how he would improve upon it. And I can say, not only do I think Weapons is an improvement over Barbarian, I think this is my early contender for my favorite movie of the year. Sinners has held that title for the past 4 months, but I genuinely do think this surpasses it. Just to get this out of the way, this is going to be a very, very tough movie to talk about while sort of tiptoeing around spoilers. I really don't want to get into like the nitty-gritty details of the plot. I think the trailer's done a really great job of literally just showing you the log line of these kids go missing in the middle of the night. What happens, nobody knows. And I think the movie does an excellent job at delivering all these details slowly to you and seeing what really is going on. The number one thing I want to praise is this is a movie that has a large cast of characters. Like I said, Julia Garner's in this movie. Josh Brolin plays a parent to one of the kids that went missing. Alden Ehrenreich plays one of the cops investigating it. Austin Abrams plays a homeless man. Benedict Wong plays the principal at the school that wants to defend Justine, but is also sympathizing with all the parents. And each character, they are in all the segments of the film, but each character has one point of view chapter where you will follow on them for a good chunk of time. Then you will have a really interesting cliffhanger in their story. Then they will jump to another point of view character, and then they will usually go up until the point where we left off with the last character, and then we will now go on a little bit farther after that. And I just think how this movie handles its story, it always keeps you engaged. It always keeps you engrossed at okay, what's going on? This is a mystery. So it's slowly revealing clues as you see each character learn something new. Each character is handling the disappearance in a different way. Justine, played by Julia Garner, she's someone who is getting blamed for the incident. We as the audience, I think, kind of know that she's not the one responsible, but everyone in the town thinks that because all the kids were from her class, something is going on there. Josh Brolin's character is someone that is just trying to find something to blame, like some reason to be mad, and is just frustrated the police don't seem to be doing anything. Alden Ehrenreich is this person that wants to be involved, but just doesn't really know what to do because this is such a weird phenomenon that they saw something that I love about this movie that this movie does is all the characters know that the kids went running away because so many of them have footage from their doorbell cameras. This movie makes me just never want to get a doorbell camera if it's going to cause me this amount of trauma because all the families that have that have doorbell cameras are able to see like where the kids went or just like the rough estimate. You see Josh Brolin's character sort of go on like this like almost like Jake Gyllenhaal in Zodiac quest of really trying to search out what is going on, and I find that really fun. Austin Abrams is like this drugged out homeless guy that is just trying to get money, and when he learns that that there is reward money for finding the kids, that's when he gets invested into it. The way this movie unravels its mysteries specifically through the point of view characters is really well done. Zach Crager needs to be awarded because I think this is a masterclass in structuring a horror movie story. Like I said, the entire cast is firing on all cylinders. Julia Garner is really good at playing this like sort of emotionally dead character. Like she is someone that sort of has a little bit of trauma from her past, just from like substance abuse, and she's trying to set a new life for herself. But she's obviously, this is a very weird scenario she's in. Josh Brolin plays the angry side very well. Austin Abrams, I think, is the standout of the cast, minus someone else that I can't really speak about without spoiling. But Austin Abrams is so funny in this movie. This is a guy I've seen in a few movies in the past, but I'm really excited to see him finally starting to blow up. He was in The Walking Dead midway through that series. He was in Brad Status as Ben Stiller's son. He was in Wolves last year, and he also plays a very manic character in that. But this character, it's so funny how just oblivious and idiotic he is. Like, there's a scene where we see him breaking into a house, and he immediately goes to eat food and just leaves it right there. And it's like, okay, great, you're just leaving your DNA right there. All the interactions he has, specifically with Alden Ehrenreich's character, are really funny. Speaking of humor, Zach Crager. There are humorous moments in Barbarian. I think that movie, you can tell it's made by someone from a comedic background. This movie is way funnier than that. I think this movie does a great job of really like capturing like awkward moments and just how like certain characters, just like the idiocy of them, of how like the answers could be in their face and they have no idea what's going on. Without spoiling anything, the ending, the ending goes from horrifying and terrifying to hilarious in like a snap of a finger, and it's done so well. It's because Zach Crager has such a like fine-tuned print on the level of tone that this type of story needs. This isn't like it's not like this movie isn't scary. It definitely is very chilling and very uncomfortable. When you're going around this town, the town has this very like desolate feeling because everyone is just a little depressed. Everyone is a little on edge because no one knows where these kids went. And all the 17 families that this affects, they are obviously hurting, but no one really knows how to interact with each other. At the same time, there are many points where there are a ton of humorous instances that the movie plays with really well. There was a cast member that shows up in this movie that Zach Crager, pun intended, weaponizes his use, and you think something is about to go on with him, and nothing does, and it's really funny there. I'll just go into my notes. Something else that I really love about this movie is, if I were trying to explain what this movie is about, is I think specifically the first half of this movie is all these characters trying to find different things to blame and try to find different things and try to find different explanations for something that seems so out of the ordinary. We have footage of all these kids just running away from their families without explanation, and you have all these other characters trying to rationalize it. They're trying to find different things that could be going on. Certain characters start thinking that, hey, maybe there is something paranormal going on, maybe there is something supernatural going on. What actually is happening? All these characters start having these different theories, and it's really fun just watching them all collide, and how even when they don't come from anything, they just need something to blame because they need something to put that passion in. Because when you are at a point in your life where you are faced with a traumatic scenario, you start getting scared and you need answers. And the toughest thing that can happen when you are in that scenario is when you just realize, I have no answers and I have no idea what's going on. And I think this movie does a great job of always keeping you as an audience member as well guessing, like, okay, is this actually what's going on? Is this what happened with the kids? Is this where they were taken? Were they actually kidnapped? Is something going on? And I think the movie does a great job of doing that. Now, I will say, without spoiling anything, this is a movie that does give you answers. By the end of the film, you're not going to be like, okay, where did the kids go? No, the movie, Zach Crager does give you a very concrete answer of saying, no, this is what happened. This is what was going on. And the moment in the film when you do finally realize what's going on, it's so genius because it is an element that had kind of been sort of hinted at through the film, but something big just is sort of like introduced and walks onto the screen. And the second that happens, you're like, that's what's going on. And this just became 10 times creepier. Another performance I really, really want to talk about, I didn't write their name down, but the person who plays Alex, who is the one character, who is the one kid in Justine's class who did not go missing. His name is, where's the actor's name? Just looking up the cast list real fast. It's so weird. They do not have it on Google. No, I'll look into this, but he was really good. He's someone that without spoiling has to go through a lot in this film, and it has to play a lot. And as the story starts to progress, you start to see exactly how this whole scenario is weighing down on him. Carrie Christopher is the character who plays Alex Lilly. He is excellent, and I'm really looking forward to see where his career goes, because if he can give a performance like this that is at points very loud and very panicky, but also very understated throughout the most of the film, I think he can pull off a lot, and I would be very, very excited to see where he goes in his career. Yeah, the movie is slow paced. Like I'm not gonna lie and say like, oh, there's like 10 million things happening in this movie every single scene. No, the movie definitely takes its time through its moment. It definitely gives you little breadcrumbs to let you solve the mystery, but it's slow paced, and it's around the 2-hour mark. And at no points are you bored. And by the end of the film, it is moving so fast that I think the fact that it took its time to set up everything and pay it off makes that setup so effective, which is why this does feel like such a masterclass of structure and tone, like I said. If I were to nitpick slightly, I will say, even though this movie does give you answers as to what is going on, if you are someone that needs that wants the explanation of the movie to be very concrete to the point where you have no questions, you know exactly how this world works, this movie doesn't quite give you that. There are some points in the movie where when it does give you your answers, it does expect you to just sort of say, hey, roll with it. This is a horror movie. Give a little bit of your suspension of disbelief. And if that is something that does annoy you, this is probably going to be a slight low point for you. Now, at the same time, I've only seen this movie once. I really, really want to see it again now, knowing where it goes. And now on that, I will pay attention again to see if it does give you a better explanation on how the world that this movie builds works. But on first watch, I could definitely see some people saying they wanted a little bit more of an explanation as to what is going on. It personally didn't bother me, but I can see that being a complaint for some people. The ending of this film is probably my favorite scene of the year. Again, I don't want to spoil anything, but the climax, when everything starts finally falling into place, when everything starts going to shit, when you are in the last point of view character, I think everything just comes to ground. It is cathartic. It is so funny, and it is so thrilling, and you are just pumping your fist the entire time. There's a moment towards the end where something is built up, and you finally realize what is about to happen. And I saw this in a packed theater. The second that happens, I just hear me and a bunch of people just say, "Oh, let's go! Here we go!" And that is why I love movies. That when a movie is able to get a vocal reaction out of so many audience members like that, that is when it is a win for me. Yeah, I really, if I were to rate this movie on a scale of 0 to 10 videotapes, 0 being absolutely awful, 10 being incredible. It's my first one of the year. I was expecting to maybe give this a little earlier. Happy I can finally give one. Weapons gets a 10 out of 10 for me. This is my favorite movie of 2025 so far. This is probably my favorite horror movie of the decade. So far of the 2020s. Everything it does so well. The pacing, the cast, the scares, the humor, the structure of the story. I think Zach Crager is just showing the world that he is one of the more interesting creators in the world of horror storytelling. Please go see this in the theater. I'm so happy it did well. I always love when I see original movies that aren't based on anything do well at the box office, and this is one that absolutely deserves every single ticket that it sells. And if you aren't a horror fan, if you are someone that just gets really scared easily, treat yourself when it does come out on streaming, because I do think most people will be able to get through this movie pretty okay. It is very creepy at times. At the same time, the humor I do think really carries it, and I think the story is so thrilling to the point where it just hits on every single key thing that makes a very interesting movie. But yeah, Weapons, phenomenal film, and could not recommend it enough. But I say we head into our second review of the night, that being Freakier Friday. This is the sequel to 2003's Freaky Friday, which is a remake to 1976's Freaky Friday story. That one starred Jodie Foster. The 2003 one, of course, stars Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis as Anna Coleman and Tess Coleman, respectively. Freakier Friday, I should say, is directed by Nisha Ganatra. And in this one, this obviously takes place 20 years in the future, and it follows Anna, played by Lindsay Lohan, who is living as a single mother. And she still has a very good relationship with her mother, Tess, played by Jamie Lee Curtis. Obviously, in the 2003 film, if you haven't seen it, that one is about how a mom and daughter who are sort of bickering in a way that moms bicker with their teenage daughter. They essentially have a coming to Jesus moment where they switch places, they switch bodies, and they cannot switch back until they have sort of learned their lesson, like a normal family movie. This one, they still have a really good relationship, and Tess meets a guy played by, I wrote his name down because he is great in this movie, Manny Giacinto, who plays Eric, who's another single father. They fall in love. We do a quick montage, and we learn that they are getting married. Something happens where this time not 2 but 4 characters all switch bodies, because not only do Tess and Anna switch bodies again, but Anna's daughter, who is played by Julia Butters, and Eric's daughter, who is played by Sophia Hammonds, also switch bodies, which is important because the daughters of Anna and Eric both hate each other and don't want the marriage to happen. So they now have this objective to try and break up this marriage before it even happens. What's going to happen? Are they going to learn their lesson? If you've seen the original, if you've seen the 2003 Freaky Friday, you probably know what's going to happen. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I actually had not seen it in full until last week. I finally watched it from start to finish, and I still think it holds up. It's your normal cheeky family movie. Not like there are maybe some. There are a few things that is a little collar pull-esque. Maybe hasn't held up well, but I think that original movie is held up by how much fun Lindsay Lohan, specifically Jamie Lee Curtis, are, and they bring that energy once again to this movie. I think the most surprising thing about Freakier Friday that I can genuinely just say, like right off the bat, it is so nice to see a family movie that is released in theaters actually look like a real movie. Now, what do I mean by that? By that I mean there are so many movies like this that you can very clearly tell are shot in a studio on a soundstage. The lighting is so overjacked and overexposed that nothing really looks real. It is so fun to see a movie that is set in California and you can actually tell, like, oh, well, they actually went out to shoot there. Or like when they're shooting on a beach, it actually looks like a beach. Or when they're shooting in a restaurant, it actually looks like a restaurant. That seems like a weird standard to have, but my standard for these types of movies are so in the floor right now in 2025. I will take what I can get. Freakier Friday definitely follows the same narrative threads as Freaky Friday. We follow these characters that originally don't like each that initially are kind of at odds with each other. This time it is Anna's daughter and Eric's daughter. They have this moment where they all swap bodies. They cannot go back to their original bodies until they have all until they have all made up and made peace with each other, and to the point where they can get along. And then, this is kind of a spoiler, not really. They all live happily ever after, and they do solve everything. That being said, I don't think it's a bad thing that they use this formula. At the end of the day, this is a family movie. It is for kids mainly, and this is for fans of that original Freaky Friday movie. And if you were a fan of that movie, I think you are going to like this movie. The thing that really elevates this movie for me is this is really just sort of like an average family film, carried by the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan are having the time of their life. Jamie Lee Curtis, once again, is so good at playing a teenager who is trapped in an adult's body, and she is doing everything that you would expect an adult to do. She is getting a makeover. She is driving a car. She's just having so much fun. Lindsay Lohan this time now gets to play a teenager in an adult's body. Last time she was obviously an adult in a teenager's body, so now she is having a lot of fun in this role. Both actors, every single time they are on screen together, they are just having a ball, and specifically Lindsay Lohan, really good at nailing the dramatic elements of this film. Something I'm surprised with this film is it doesn't try to shy away from the dramatic elements, and not to the point where like the storyline is like super heavy, but you really do get the sense that all the characters do care for each other. They do want the best for each other, and Lohan is really good at delivering that. Obviously, I'm really happy that she is now doing a lot better than she was in the mid to late 2000s. I would love a renaissance for her career. I think she absolutely deserves it because I do think she is a good actress. And I do think she is really good here. Both kids, Julia Butters and Sophia Hammonds, they are also very good as Harper and Lily. They are very funny. One little joke I love is the second that Tess and Anna go into their body, they immediately just start eating so much food because their metabolism is so much better, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's been so long since I could eat multiple hot dogs in a day. That was a really funny joke. There aren't a ton of like really humorous stuff in this movie. Like there are several like chuckle-worthy moments, but I don't think the script is super funny, with the exception of maybe one scene. If you see the trailer, you know that Tess and what are the characters' names? Harper and Lily, who are in Tess and Anna's body, go to Chad Michael Murray's character's place of business. In the original movie, Chad Michael Murray played Anna's first boyfriend, and their goal is like, hey, maybe we rekindle their romance. We can maybe break up the marriage. And that scene where they are in the record store, so funny and in incredible moment of just awkward humor, and that is handled really well. But yeah, outside of that, there aren't a ton of like really like hilarious moments in the movie, which was just a little surprising. I gotta shout out Manny Jacinto. I really hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Who plays Eric, Anna's fiance. It would be so easy to make this character feel like a stuffed shirt, or feel like really like he's someone that just doesn't like fun and immediately wants to move back to England, because that is the main crux. Is if Anna and Eric get married, they will be moving back to England with their daughters, and they will be leaving Tess behind in LA, because she is now has a therapy podcast that is going very well. But the way how Manny Jacinto plays the character and the way he's written He is so freaking likable. This is one of the best parent characters I've seen in a long time. He loves his daughter at the same time. He very clearly loves Anna. He loves Anna's daughter. He loves his whole family. And the second that this character realizes that he might be affecting their family in a negative way, that is the moment where he's like, that is what gives him his pause of like, do I want to marry Anna? And I think that is a really like respectable like conflict the movie has. It's not like he's mad at her. He's just like, I don't want to tear this family apart. And that like I was just genuinely surprised how invested I was in this story because I think it is because this character Eric is so good, and part of that comes down to the writing, but also a big part of that comes down to Manny Jacinto, who's just so good at playing this character. There is a plot line with Anna and one of her clients. Anna is now a music industry mogul, and you keep wondering, and it keeps coming back to the fact that her client has to perform a concert, and she isn't sure if it's going to pay off. That sort of goes where you're expecting. It's not super intriguing, but you know, it gets the job done. Yeah, but while this movie has the vibes of like, maybe this came out like 2 years ago, it might have just been dumped out on Disney Plus. I'm really happy that it did come out in theaters, and I do think it does warrant that theatrical experience. And I think the fact that it looks like a real movie, the fact that the actors are having a fun time, definitely made me had a good time while watching this movie. If I were to rate this movie on a scale of 0 to 10 videotapes, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I don't think it's great. I don't think it breaks new grounds, but I think for a Lego sequel that has a lot of nostalgic callbacks, I think most of them work really well. I think Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis are so good in this movie. Manny Jacinto as well, really good. And yeah, the fact that you can tell the people that were making the movie, it genuinely seemed like they wanted to make the movie. I think that carries through on screen. That makes it a much more fun time for the audience. If you want a fun family movie, I'd say go see this movie in theaters. If you are a fan of the original movie, go see this. If you don't like that original movie, this one isn't going to do it for you. Doesn't really try anything too new. But yeah, Freakier Friday genuinely does get my seal of approval, and I was genuinely surprised by that because I thought this would have just felt like a shovelware movie, and that really wasn't the case, and I was very, very thankful for that. Thank you all for watching this week's episode of Cinemaster Reviews. Remember to like and subscribe. Like this video and subscribe to the video story. It helps grow our channel a lot. Next week, I'm going to be reviewing Nobody 2 and hopefully one other movie. My next weekend is a little busy, but I hope I can see 2 movies, but I'm definitely going to be seeing Nobody 2. Thank you, as always, for tuning in, and remember, as always, watch more movies.
And the award for most vapid film review of the century goes to...
Okay, movie review. Okay, I thought it was beauty.
And he's now in cinema hell, where one day we'll all be reunited.
This is me at the Regal Cinema crying as I did through much of the film.